They ignored this starship. One human mechanic made it the galaxy's ultimate weapon. Alien engineers hurried past, their limbs moving in impossible angles, their multifaceted eyes scanning for mistakes no human could ever notice. Some ships gleamed like stars, perfectly polished and armed to perfection. Others, slightly older, were considered obsolete. Among all of this, tucked in a forgotten corner of the yard, sat the Dauntless. Rust streaked across its hull, panels hung loose, and tiny dents told stories of old battles or old mistakes. To the aliens it was nothing, just a relic. The kind of thing they would gladly scrap for parts. But to Kira Tanaka, it was beautiful. Kira was human, young, and fiercely determined. She had grown up on stories of Earth's engineers, men and women who could fix anything with little more than a wrench and their wits. She had arrived at the Andrali space yards as a lowly mechanic, assigned to human oversight tasks, repairing old transport ships, checking power cores, and cleaning ducts that aliens refused to touch. Her hands were small but precise, and her mind always racing, always thinking of what could be rather than what was. She crouched near the Dauntless, examining a fractured hull panel. "You've got potential," she whispered, almost reverently. "If only they could see you like I do." Her words were carried off by the hum of the engines and the chatter of alien supervisors. None of them cared about the Dauntless. They mocked humans openly. "Why do we even keep this junk here?" a Zorvak engineer asked, his three eyes narrowing. "It's obsolete. The humans are useless." Kira ignored him, though her jaw tightened. The aliens had been underestimating humans for centuries. They assumed humans were weak, primitive, predictable. They were about to be proven wrong. For weeks, Kira worked in secret. She scavenged scraps from nearby cargo ships, repurposed old power cells, and tested unconventional modifications. The Dauntless engines, small and outdated, were given subtle enhancements. She installed micro-turbines she had designed herself, tweaked the energy flow, and adjusted the thrusters' alignment with almost obsessive precision. To anyone else, these modifications seemed small, insignificant. To Kira, they were everything. She worked late into the nights when the aliens had left the yard. The lights dimmed, the hangar quieted, and the only sounds were the gentle hums of engines and the soft clatter of tools in her hands. At first, the Dauntless barely stirred under her modifications. A low vibration here, a flicker of energy there. But Kira was patient. She had learned that humans had a way of seeing the potential where others could not. Where aliens relied on raw calculations and algorithms, humans relied on intuition, improvisation, and creativity. One evening, after hours of testing, Kira climbed into the cockpit. She pressed her palm against the console. "Okay, old friend," she whispered, "show me what you can really do." The engines roared. It was a low, rumbling growl at first, almost uncertain. Then, faster, stronger, the ship's systems hummed in harmony. The small lights on the dashboard flickered in response, showing energy levels she had never seen before. The Dauntless lifted slightly off the ground, hovering as if testing its own strength. Kira's heart raced. A human mechanic alone, in a galaxy of the most advanced civilizations, had just brought a forgotten starship to life. But the galaxy outside the hangar remained blind. The Zorvak inspectors came and went, oblivious. The human engineers were too timid, too cautious, to notice what Kira was doing. Only she knew that the Dauntless was becoming something the galaxy would not expect. Days turned into weeks. Kira's modifications became more ambitious. She tinkered with adaptive shields that could absorb and redistribute energy in unexpected ways. She rewired the weapons systems to switch rapidly between energy beams and projectiles. Every system she touched gained a human unpredictability, yet she was careful. She did not want anyone to notice too soon. The galaxy's elites were cruel to humans, especially when humans dared to exceed their expectations. If the wrong person discovered her work too early, The Dauntless would be confiscated, dismantled, or destroyed. One afternoon, as Kira tightened the last panel on the ship's hull, she heard a voice behind her. "You again." It was Varnick, one of the alien supervisors. His mouth curled into a smug grin. "I keep seeing you near this scrap heap. Don't tell me you're trying to fix it." Kira did not flinch. "Just inspecting it," she said casually, though her fingers remained ready at her tools. Varnick's three eyes scanned her, suspicious. Humans, always trying to play with things they don't understand. "I understand it perfectly," Kira said, her voice calm, steady. "I just don't follow your rules." The alien snorted. "Rules are there for a reason. You'll never achieve anything with this old hull." Kira smiled faintly. "We'll see." That night she returned to the cockpit alone. She inputted a sequence she had been developing in secret for weeks. The Dauntless responded immediately, the engines thrumming with power, shields flaring briefly as if testing themselves. Kira laughed quietly. "They don't see it yet," she whispered, "but they will." It was during one of these late-night sessions that she noticed something unusual. The Dauntless energy core had a hidden potential, one that even she had not predicted. The core's resonance interacted with the newly modified engines in a way that could allow the ship to move faster than any calculations predicted, to react before sensors even detected threats. She tested it carefully, in small bursts. The ship glided across the hangar floor with almost eerie precision, twisting, turning, and stopping as though it anticipated her thoughts. Kira's jaw dropped. No alien ship in the yard could do this. Only humans, with their improvisation and intuition, could unlock such potential. From that moment, she knew the Dauntless would not remain just a forgotten relic. It was evolving into something greater, something the galaxy would ignore at its peril. Yet Kira also knew she could not do it alone. She needed help, but only humans she could trust. Ones who understood creativity over protocol, instinct over computation. Slowly, she began reaching out to a few fellow human engineers, quietly recruiting them for what she called Project Dauntless. The first recruit was Marco, a young human programmer who had a knack for making AI think outside its coded boundaries. Together, they enhanced the ship's navigation systems, allowing it to anticipate enemy movements in ways that no alien logic could predict. Next came Leela, an ex-space miner who could manipulate physical structures with unmatched precision. She reinforced the hull, optimizing it for strength and flexibility at the same time. Every hammer strike, every weld she applied made the Dauntless stronger. Finally, Kira added Elias, a weapons specialist. He recalibrated the ship's cannons, using off-the-wall designs that no alien engineer would ever attempt. Projectiles that split, energy beams that shifted angles, weapons that could adapt mid-flight, everything a human could imagine, and only a human would dare to try. By the end of the month, the Dauntless was no longer a forgotten relic. It hummed with power, sleek and ready, a testament to human ingenuity. Kira stood before it one last time, her team behind her. "This," she said softly, "is what happens when the galaxy ignores us." Her words carried weight. The humans in the hangar nodded, filled with quiet pride. The aliens outside would continue their smug dismissals, assuming humans could do nothing of real value. But soon, they would learn differently. And as the stars outside the hangar glimmered, the Dauntless waited, patient, hidden, unknown. But already it was becoming the galaxy's ultimate weapon, not because of raw size or firepower, but because of human creativity, unpredictability, and courage. The first part of the journey had begun. The galaxy had ignored the Dauntless. It would not make that mistake again. The Dauntless was no longer just a forgotten relic. It had grown into something extraordinary under Kira Tanaka's hands and the human crew she had quietly gathered. Every panel reinforced, every circuit upgraded, every system tested, yet still hidden from the galaxy's eyes. The aliens of Andrali's space yards continued their routine inspections, their disdain for humans unchanged. But humans had learned a secret lesson. The galaxy's overconfidence was its weakness. Kira sat in the cockpit one morning, her fingers dancing over the controls. The ship's adaptive systems responded instantly, lights flickering in patterns that almost seemed alive. She glanced at her crew. Marco, Leela, and Elias were working quietly on their stations, each focused on their part of the secret project. "Everything ready?" Kira asked. Marco grinned. "All systems are green. The AI algorithms are running ahead of schedule. The ship is anticipating itself now." Elias laughed softly. "If the aliens ever see this, they'll explode their brains trying to understand it." Kira smiled, but her thoughts were serious. "We're not ready to fight yet. We need to test her fully in the real world." A live trial. They didn't have to wait long. That evening, news came through the human communications network. A small human convoy had been ambushed by a rogue alien patrol in the neighboring sector. Dozens of human freighters, carrying civilians and supplies, were at risk. The aliens assumed it would be an easy victory. They had no idea that Kira and the Dauntless were watching, waiting. The crew moved quickly. Kira piloted the ship out of the hidden hangar, engines purring with unnatural precision. The Dauntless glided through the shadows of space, cloaking systems humming silently. The alien patrols were large, heavily armed and confident, scanning for any human response. They were about to meet something entirely unexpected. "Visibility?" Kira asked. Marco checked the sensors. "Clear, they don't see us. Their scans are normal. They have no idea what we've become." "Good," Kira said, gripping the controls. "Let's show them human creativity." The Dauntless struck like a shadow. The first alien ship didn't even see it coming. The human-adapted weapons fired in patterns that confused the enemy's targeting systems. Energy beams split mid-flight, missiles changed direction mid-course, and shields shifted dynamically to absorb counterattacks. The aliens' strategy depended on predictability, but the Dauntless was unpredictable, alive with human improvisation. The battle moved faster than the human crew could have imagined. The aliens scrambled, firing blindly. Kira's mind raced, calculating maneuvers instinctively rather than logically. She twisted the Dauntless in impossible arcs, dodging entire salvos while delivering precise, crippling strikes. One by one, the alien vessels went down, confused and powerless against a ship that moved like it was alive. Leela watched in awe as the hull absorbed and deflected impacts that should have shredded the ship. "This is incredible. It's like she knows exactly where to go." Elias chuckled, his eyes never leaving the screens. "Humans don't just fight, they improvise. That's what they can't predict." Word of the mysterious ship spread quickly, even before the battle ended. Alien commanders whispered rumors of a ghost ship that appeared from nowhere, destroyed their forces, and vanished before reinforcements could respond. No one had a clue that it was humans behind the Dauntless, nor that the humans had built it themselves, out of ingenuity and raw determination rather than massive fleets or overwhelming firepower. After the battle, Kira returned to the hidden hangar. The convoy had been saved, and not a single human life had been lost. The crew celebrated quietly, aware that what they had accomplished would shake the galaxy's perception of humanity. But they also knew this was only the beginning. Kira leaned against the cockpit wall, staring at the ship. "They still don't see us," she said softly. "They think humans are weak, that we're predictable, that we can't fight like they do." "Maybe," Marco said, "but now we know how to fight like them and then better." Kira nodded. "Exactly, and we have the advantage. They never expect the unexpected." Over the next few weeks, Kira and her crew continued enhancements. The Dauntless became faster, stronger, smarter. Its cloaking systems allowed near invisibility, its AI could predict enemy maneuvers, and its weapons adapted on the fly. Every modification relied not on alien theory, but human intuition, improvisation, and boldness. the galaxy's attention began to shift. Strange reports came from sectors where human ships were thought to be weak or underdeveloped. Alien fleets reported seeing ships that appeared out of nowhere, striking with precision and disappearing before they could respond. They called it the Phantom. None of them guessed it was just one human starship, one human mechanic, one crew who dared to think differently, but not everyone was oblivious. A high-ranking Zorvek officer, Commander Varnik, had begun noticing patterns. Ships would vanish, attack, and leave without explanation. "It is not possible," he muttered, scanning reports. "The humans are cleverer than we assumed." Varnik convened a council. "Humans are underestimated," he warned. "We must locate the Phantom ship before it disrupts the entire region." Meanwhile, Kira and her crew were already several steps ahead. They ran drills, tested the Dauntless in simulated battles, and pushed the ship to its limits. The ship could dodge faster than any alien vessel, fire with unpredictable patterns, and adapt its defenses in real time. Every time the crew thought they had reached the peak, the ship proved them wrong, revealing new capabilities. One night while Kira and Marco were running stress tests, the Dauntless systems detected an anomaly, a hidden asteroid field on the outskirts of the Andrali sector. Most alien fleets would have avoided it. Most humans would have followed. But Kira smiled. "This is perfect," she said. "Let's see what she can really do." The Dauntless dove into the asteroid field. Its adaptive engines twisted and turned, weaving through rocks that would have destroyed any ordinary ship. Kira's instincts guided the maneuvers, but the ship's AI supplemented her commands in ways that made them almost one entity. They tested weapons here, too, firing at targets that appeared and disappeared with the shifting asteroids. Every shot, every dodge, every shield adjustment worked flawlessly. "This," Elias said, grinning from his console, "is more than a ship, it's alive." Leela nodded. "It's like the ship knows what we're thinking before we even do." Kira smiled quietly. "That's humans, we create. We adapt, we improvise, that's how we survive." The next day, the Dauntless performance became impossible to ignore. Rogue alien scouts sent to the region vanished or returned with reports of a ship that defied comprehension. Commander Varnik was furious. "This cannot be a human ship," he raged. "They are too primitive, too small, too weak." But evidence could not be ignored. Ships were destroyed, convoys saved, entire patrols were routed. The Phantom was real and it was human. Kira knew that the galaxy was beginning to take notice, but she also knew that the true test was coming. One day, a major alien fleet would attack a human colony, expecting an easy victory. The Dauntless would face overwhelming numbers, perhaps dozens of ships at once. That battle would reveal humanity's full potential or destroy them all. For now, the crew focused on preparation. They continued enhancements, tested new weapons, and trained tirelessly. They learned to anticipate alien strategies, not with calculation but with creativity. They practiced improvisation, learning to bend physics, tactics, and logic in ways no alien could predict. Kira often thought about the irony. The galaxy ignored humans for centuries, considering them weak, disposable, predictable. But humans thrived on unpredictability. They thrived on improvisation. Where aliens saw chaos, humans saw opportunity. Where aliens saw limitations, humans saw possibility. And the Dauntless was their proof. One evening, as the crew gathered in the cockpit, Marco looked at Kira. "Do you think they'll ever realize?" Kira shook her head. "Not yet, and that's fine. It's better if they remain blind. Every fleet they send will underestimate us. Every attack they plan will fail. Every victory they expect will be ours." Elias smirked. "Then let's make sure they never see it coming." The stars outside the viewport shimmered as the Dauntless glided silently through space. The ship was faster, stronger, and smarter than any of the galaxy's experts had predicted. It moved with precision that bordered on intuition. And it waited. The galaxy had yet to discover the full power of a human starship. It had yet to understand what one determined mechanic and a small crew of humans could accomplish. The hidden power of the Dauntless had awakened, and when the time came, the galaxy would never forget it. Kira looked at her crew, her friends, her family in a sense. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "we begin our real work. One ship, one crew, and one galaxy that underestimates us at its peril." The Dauntless hummed beneath her hands, alive with human ingenuity, ready to strike, ready to survive, ready to prove that the galaxy had been wrong to ignore humans. And in the shadows, the stars waited silently as the stage was set for the battles to come. The galaxy had begun to whisper about humans. Small fleets and scouts had vanished. Convoys had been saved by a mysterious ship no one could understand. They called it the Phantom, though few knew its true nature. But whispers alone were not enough. The aliens needed proof, and the humans were about to give it. Kira Tanaka stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, looking out at the stars. Her crew, Marco, Leela, and Elias, worked at their stations, calm but alert. The ship's adaptive systems hummed like a living creature, ready for the trial it had been built to endure. The mission was clear. A massive alien fleet was moving toward a human colony in the Syndra sector. The fleet was larger than anything humans had ever faced, 20 times the size of their convoy, bristling with firepower, and commanded by experienced alien officers who expected an easy victory. "Numbers?" Kira asked, her voice steady. Marco adjusted the sensors. "Over 20 ships fully armed. They've detected the colony but not us yet. They're confident like always." Kira smiled faintly. "Good. Confidence always makes the first mistake." Leela leaned forward, her fingers tapping the console. "They'll attack in formation. We can predict their patterns, kind of, but they'll adapt if we're not careful." Elias grinned. "Then let's give them something they don't expect. Humans never fight by the book." Kira nodded. "Exactly. Let's remind the galaxy why they underestimated us." The Dauntless activated its cloaking system, slipping silently through space. No sensors could detect it. Not yet. The alien fleet moved like a predator approaching prey, unaware of the hidden threat that would turn the hunt into chaos. As the Dauntless neared the front of the fleet, Kira gave her orders. "Marco, prepare the adaptive weapons. Leela, shields full. Elias, ready the new energy patterns. Let's be fast, precise, and unpredictable." The Dauntless struck first. One ship at the edge of the fleet was vaporized in a sudden flash. The aliens scrambled, their sensors screaming, but the human ship had already vanished. "Did it just move?" one alien commander shouted. "Impossible! It's gone!" Kira's heart raced, but her hands were steady. She guided the Dauntless through impossible angles, twisting between enemy fire. The ship's adaptive shields absorbed blasts that should have destroyed it, converting energy to reinforce engines and weapons. Missiles split mid-flight, energy beams shifted direction, and automated targeting systems responded before the aliens even realized what had happened. Elias leaned back, laughing. "They never learn. Every time they fire, we're already somewhere else." Leela nodded. "It's beautiful the way the ship moves," Kira smiled. "Not the ship, humans. Never forget that." The fleet attempted to adapt, changing formations and concentrating firepower on the last known location of the Dauntless. But human unpredictability defied their calculations. The ship weaved in impossible arcs, striking weak points in the enemy lines. It destroyed one ship after another, all while keeping the colony safe. Then the aliens sent in their largest weapon, a colossal dreadnought, bristling with cannons capable of obliterating a planetside colony. It opened fire on the Dauntless, expecting an easy kill. Kira's mind worked faster than the systems themselves. Adaptive shields full. Engines maximum output. Weapons do what they do best. The Dauntless danced. The dreadnought's cannons missed, striking empty space. The ship fired back, energy beams splitting in unpredictable patterns, piercing weak points in the massive hull. The dreadnought shuddered as its weapons overloaded, its own energy reflected back in ways no alien engineer could have anticipated. Human ingenuity, it's incredible, Marco whispered. Kira didn't answer. Her focus was absolute. Every twist, every shot, every maneuver was precise. The Dauntless was more than a ship now. It was a testament to human creativity, adaptation, and courage. The smaller ships in the alien fleet tried to protect the dreadnought, but they were no match. The Dauntless, weapons recalibrated continuously, striking ships before they could react. The fleet was in chaos, retreating in confusion, unsure how one human ship could wreak such havoc. Finally, the dreadnought itself exploded in a blinding flash. Pieces of its hull scattered across space. The remaining alien ships fled, leaving the human colony untouched. The crew of the Dauntless cheered quietly, but Kira remained focused. "Check the colony," she said. Marco ran scans. "All systems stable, no casualties." "The colony is safe," Kira exhaled. "Good, this is what humans do. We survive, we protect, we adapt, and we win because we never give up, even when the galaxy thinks we're weak." The news spread across the sectors like wildfire. Reports of a single human ship defeating an entire fleet, protecting colonies, and vanishing without warning reached every corner of known space. Aliens whispered in disbelief, unable to comprehend how such a small, underestimated species had achieved so much. Commander Varnick, the high-ranking Zorvek officer who had first noticed the Phantom, was furious. "Impossible," he shouted to his council. One human ship destroyed a fleet. This cannot be." But even Varnick could no longer deny it. Humans were not just survivors. They were unpredictable, resourceful, and dangerous. They had turned neglect into power, underestimation into an advantage, and a forgotten starship into a weapon no one could match. Back on the Dauntless, Kira stood on the bridge, staring at the stars. The battle had been won, but the galaxy had changed forever. The humans had shown that raw strength, numbers, and technology were not everything. Ingenuity, courage, and adaptability were equally powerful, qualities humans had in abundance. "We did it," Leela said softly, awe in her voice. "We actually did it," Kira smiled. "We always could. They just needed to ignore us long enough to let us prove it." Elias leaned back, grinning. "Think the galaxy will get the message now?" Kira shook her head with a laugh. "Some of them might never understand, but that's okay. They've already learned the hard way. Humans are not to be underestimated." The Dauntless glided silently toward the colony, its systems humming with quiet power. It had become more than a ship. It was a symbol, a warning, a beacon of hope for humanity scattered across the stars. For the first time, humans across the galaxy began to feel the stirrings of pride. They had been dismissed, ridiculed, and ignored for centuries. But one mechanic, one crew, one ship had reminded the galaxy why humans survived, thrived, and endured. The stars outside shimmered, reflecting the light of distant suns. Kira and her crew knew the truth. They were just the beginning. One ship could change a battle. One human mind could change the course of a fight. And humanity, underestimated for so long, would continue to rise, adapt, and inspire fear and respect in equal measure. "This," Kira whispered, touching the console, "is only the beginning. The galaxy hasn't seen anything yet." And as the Dauntless sailed onward, unseen by most but unstoppable in its purpose, the galaxy slowly realized that it had ignored the wrong species for far too long. One human mechanic had done the impossible, and the universe would never forget it. The Dauntless was no longer a forgotten ship. It was humanity's ultimate weapon, not in the sense of destruction, but in the power of ingenuity, courage, and the unyielding human spirit. The galaxy had been warned.